Last time if I recall, you kind of talked about some miscellaneous things. Obviously, I'm down for a freestyle a little bit, but really just what kind of scenarios have you come across? How do you help people in these scenarios? Just that kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, Minnesota. This is Christie Thompson with Christie Legal, divorce and child custody, paralegal, and mediator. And it's time for our weekly conversation about divorce. And today I have with me, again, yay, Eric.Morris of Edward Jones. You might remember him from a month ago. And he's back today to talk about finances. So to give you a little bit of information about the legalities of divorcing, um, first we divide the assets. And when you divide the assets, first you need to value them. And so for valuing the assets, I lean on other professionals. So for your investment accounts, your retirement funds, um, and any other type of financial tool, I am going to rely on your financial advisor. And if you don't have one, then I can refer you to one. And, you know, that would be the best way to go because financial accounts, yes, there's a balance on every financial account, but that balance doesn't necessarily reflect that account's value for the purpose of divorce. And for if you have real estate properties, we're going to value that either with an appraisal or a real estate agent market valuation. Um, if you are going to refinance the home pretty soon, one of you, then we would do an appraisal. That's like, $500 to $800 to have that done. However, if you guys are not going to be immediately refinancing the mortgage, or if you're going to be selling the house anyways, we're going to have a real estate agent do a market evaluation. And I have a lot of real estate agents who are willing to do that free of charge for my clients. And then if you have valuable chattel property, which just means property that is not real estate, um, then I do have someone who can value that as well. And for automobiles, we would just look at Kelley Blue Book, unless you folks would like to do it some other way. So we value everything, and then we create a marital asset spreadsheet. And so we're going to have in one column one person's stuff, and one column the other person's stuff. And the joint assets will wait on putting them in one column or another. We'll see how it all pans out. Like, because unless you folks have a goal otherwise, we are going to divide the assets 50-50. And so we will move the assets around like puzzle pieces to see how each of you can end up with half the assets. That can get very complicated or can be super simple. You folks could also come to me with agreements reached on how you want to divide the assets. Um, if you can do that on your own, that would be amazing. um, and so then after we divide the assets, then we have to move on to dividing the debts. I have had some clients who have no debts, and that is wonderful and amazing. And they're going to start off in their single life much better that way. However, if you do have debts, then we will be dividing those debts according to ability to pay. And what ability to pay means is that whoever earns more is going to pay more of the debts because that person has a greater ability to pay. So the debts would include, yes, student loans that were incurred during the marriage, credit cards, medical debt, um, car loans, everything, all any and all debts. And $1 million question is always, are you folks caught up on filing and paying your income taxes? Because let me tell you, between valuing homes, sharing children, um, the income tax is not being paid is like big problem number 3. So after we have divided all the debts, then we will move on to, if you have children, sharing the children. We're going to talk about what is in the best interest of the children. What kind of work schedule do you folks have? Who has been doing most of the parenting? What are both of you folks' thoughts on all of this? And we're going to come up with a schedule, a very, very specific schedule, so that you folks are less likely to have problems in the future. Because the more specific something is, the easier it is going to be for you folks to follow it. And we're also going to decide on holidays, vacations, and co-parenting agreements. The more co-parenting agreements you have now, the less problems you're going to have in the future, which means the fewer times that you are going to have to end up going to court later. If we don't reach a lot of agreements now, I've seen it. So that is why I always encourage my clients to reach as many agreements about how they are going to share their children when they are getting divorced. And then we'll do child support, of course. And sometimes there is no child support. And also, is there going to be medical and dental insurance for one of the parties from the other party moving forward? Because Minnesota law does allow for that, and health care is really a huge expense. So it's very important to decide on that as well. And that's enough legal stuff. Now let's move on to the financial stuff. And Eric is going to talk about that. And so Eric, first introduce yourself, and then please tell us how you help folks during the divorce process.
Perfect. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Christy. And yeah, to kind of introduce myself, you already introduced me at the beginning, but again, I'm Eric Morris with Edward Jones. I'm a certified financial planner, and I've been doing this for, oh boy, coming up on 12 years now. But yeah, I absolutely love what I do, and a lot of it does involve working closely with other professionals. Just like you said, you partner with advisors, real estate agents. But really, it's going to be hopefully partnering with Christie, or if things get, a little bit more nasty, partnering with attorneys and kind of um, supporting them in, for example, providing those valuations for investment accounts. Things are moving around all the time. And it does involve having multiple different parties coordinate. How do we all come together and make this into a relatively clean process? Um, but where I really kind of take the lead is on the tail end of the divorce. Once the more kind of nitty gritty processing is taking place, accounts are being split, assets are being split, maybe the house is being sold. Okay, the dust is settling. Where do we go from here? Right? Um, we previously had this whole retirement plan put together for, two people. Everything got shaken up. How do we build a new path forward? Because everything has been completely turned on its head. So I would say that's really what I specialize in. Um, you know, how to, let's say, you received a retirement account from your spouse, and that fortunately was not a taxable event when the actual divorce was taking place. But going forward, maybe you didn't have any retirement accounts before, you weren't really sure how that works, how to coordinate that, and maybe it wasn't previously part of your financial plan. But so all of a sudden, hey, I have all these different assets, maybe proceeds from a house, or I owe my previous spouse on buying out the house. So really, everybody's situation is different. So I don't want to give too much in the way of kind of, I don't want to give blanket advice here, but whatever your situation is, I think sitting down with, doesn't have to be myself, just anybody who can help you um, put all the pieces into a new plan for the future now that everything's been shaken up.
Absolutely. And can you tell folks a little bit about, say your client is getting part of the other party's 401k. Can you tell people how that would work?
Yeah. So, as part of the divorce process, normally, if you have like an IRA or a 401k, and let's say you're under age 59 and a half, you get nailed with taxes and penalties for doing an early withdrawal from the retirement account or 401k. Divorces are unique, though. It is possible to split the account and basically start a new account for the spouse to receive that half or whatever proportion of that account. So that actual division is a unique exception to normally you get nailed when you withdraw, but yeah, you can split it up without any penalty. But then from there, you do have to treat the account as a normal retirement account. So being careful about, waiting until you're age 59 and a half to withdraw unless you have to, thinking about tax consequences, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And is there any like do you have any rules of thumb when it comes to folks divorcing, such as like it's best to keep any certain type of asset, or is it really just completely dependent on the situation?
Um, I don't want to take the cop out answer of everybody's situation is different and not give you anything. So I would say there is definitely a prioritization that you'll generally want to follow with some kind of assets are generally worth more than others. Like for example, one of the biggest difference is a Roth IRA versus a traditional IRA or a traditional 401k. Roth IRAs are post-tax dollars. So depending on your tax bracket, $1 in a Roth IRA is worth potentially substantially more than $1 in a traditional IRA. Or, the house works a little bit differently because it's taxed very differently. But like, for example, you could also have non-retirement investment accounts, just like a regular investment account. That's also taxed differently from the other two. So just thinking about, with your unique situation, generally speaking, a Roth is the most valuable and then non-qualified or non-retirement dollars are the second most valuable. But then traditional IRA is the least valuable because you have not paid tax on it yet. Also, it's most restrictive in how you can withdraw. If you need to access the funds, you're going to pay more of a penalty in tax if you pull from there. One other major point of consideration, and this is very much a one-off situation, but equity in the house. A lot of the times, if you don't sell the house, one ex-spouse will buy out the other. And
A
I
lot of
won't
the
go
time
too
if
much
you
into the
don't
house
sell
because
them.
every house is very, very different, but it's a major, major factor that is definitely worth talking about.
Awesome. And so when you are helping people plan their financial future, um, do you often help them deal with debts, like debt management? Because sometimes, a good percentage of my clients, are, divorcing because of money.
Mhm.
And so they do have quite a bit of debt. Do you help them with managing that debt, or do you refer them to debt management, and how do you do that?
For sure. I would say debt is very much a part of what I do. If it's purely what's going on for somebody like, hey, we don't have a lot of assets to work with, we're just navigating debt, there are debt specialists that I would then refer to. But if, let's say, for example, we have assets and then we have some debts to go along with those assets, that is very much part of a normal financial plan I'd go through. I mean, most people I work with have mortgages, for example. And really, the big question is what kind of interest rate are we talking about? And what kind of terms of the loan are there? Hey, if we're carrying a bunch of credit card debt that has a super high interest rate that probably is worth liquidating assets to pay off because you're paying 30% on that. Or on the other side of the flip side, if you have a 10-year-old mortgage at 2.5% and you're able to keep that through the divorce, I mean, that's very hard to justify paying down, right? It's just such a good interest rate. Probably worth just paying the minimum and maybe invest your excess instead. So it really depends on the debt. And I would say, as long as you have assets plus debt, I can definitely help in kind of the overall picture. But if it's purely a debt situation, there are specialists I usually lean on a little bit.
Wow, that is really complicated. And that is why I encourage all my clients to obtain advice from a financial advisor when divorcing. Because divorcing is the largest transition that most people will do. And most people, this is their first time getting divorced, and you just need help. You need help. You need legal help. You need financial help. Um, you need all sorts of help. And don't be afraid to reach out. Again, this is the hardest thing that most people will go through. And that also means that you might need some temporary mental health help to help you transition as positively into your new life. And mine and Eric's contact information will be in the post shortly. We don't have any questions anywhere. And let me just double check my cell phone here. And nope, no questions anywhere. And we both offer free or no cost consultations. And so definitely reach out to us. And any last words, Eric?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you really covered everything really, really well, Christy. So I just appreciate you having me. And I'm really here whenever anything comes up for you or anyone who who might need some help. So always here as a resource, and don't be afraid to reach out.
Awesome. I hope that everyone in Minnesota has a great rest of this sunny and really quite warm summer day.